how our mind works. And I would like to tell you one of the myths which surround us by the story of this little boy. Now, it may look two-dimensional to you, so I've got the real guy for you. So, before I tell you the story, I want to request you to come with me into a moment. Now, this moment has come in everybody's life. It is the time when we are anticipating a result. Imagine if you have given an exam with your best intentions, you're hoping that you'll pass, or you have conceptualized a project with a lot of fanfare, you have launched it, and you're expecting that it's going to be a hit. Or just imagine that you're a parent and all your life is encircling around the dreams that your child is going to be getting into a university or a college or a particular course, and he or she comes back to you and says that, you know, Mama, I can't do it. I just don't want to do it. I want to do something else. That moment is going to come again in your life, and it's going to come again and again and again. And that moment, if you can embrace it, if you can take hold of it, then perhaps you will be able to be more successful, counterintuitively. And in order to tell you that, I want to tell you this little story of this little boy. Now, this little boy was not an ordinary boy. He was born to a doctor, the richest doctor in the world. The father was so rich that he almost owned half of the town, buildings after buildings. Incidentally, the father's father was also a doctor. He was so famous that he once refused the king of the country that he can't be his personal physician. So here was our little boy, father, doctor, richest doctor in the world, grandfather, also a famous doctor. So he was part of this doctor family with a strong lineage. So it was very obvious that the father wanted the son, this little boy, to become a doctor. But this little boy was a bit clumsy and he was not very sure. In fact, he had a lab in his house, and because of his failed experiments, his friend used to call him gas. And he also used to love reading Shakespeare and mathematics. But that's about it. His father was very clear that he has to become a doctor, and he was sent to the best medical school of that time to read medicine. And the father was all set that here is my son who would become a doctor. Few months later, the father comes to know that the son is bunking classes. Now imagine this guy studying in one of the best universities in the world. We all aspire to in India to get into a medical college. But here was this guy who was saying that I don't want to be inside the classroom. The father became very furious. He calls the son and asks him and pushes him in that direction. But when he realizes that the son is not going to be a doctor, he comes with a plan B. And what was the plan B? The plan B was that I'm going to pull him out of a medical college, put him in an arts university, buy him a large piece of land, marry him to a girl, and his life will be set. So he says that, come out of this college and go to this prestigious university of the world again. Son follows and he goes there. But then few months later, the father again hears this, that the son is not paying attention to his studies. In fact, he's spending more time outside the classroom catching beetles, insects, butterflies, and rats. So imagine the plight of this father, who is probably imagining that my son is going to be following in my footsteps, he writes to him and says that you are a rat catcher and you are a disgrace to the family, and I have nothing to do with you from here on. The son comes back, and in all audacity he tells his father that, actually I want to travel around the world. Can you fund my travel expenses? Father is like, what are you doing? You're a college dropout, then you went to an arts college, you were not paying attention, then you were catching rats, and now you're saying that you want to travel, and then you don't even have an end in sight. So he refuses, but in the pressure of family and friends, he says, all right, go ahead. Now, I'll take a pause here. Before he's going on to the journey, he meets one of the friends from the medical college, and they are both exchanging notes. So the friend asks, what are you doing in life? And he says, first you tell me, what are you doing? He says, well, I went to a medical college, came out, bright young chap, have a practice, and I'm seeing patients, I have a wife, nice family. What are you doing? He says, well, I went to a medical college, but then I dropped out. Then I sort of went to an arts college. Then I was not enjoying. Then I was kind of catching rats, insects. And then I am kind of going on this journey, which I'm not sure what it is about, but yeah, this is my plan. Now, imagine this conversation. Any nation, any system, any school, any parent, any child, if he asks this question from them, then what out of the grandfather, father and the child would you choose? The young mind of this country to be, or your child to be, or your friend to be? The answer would be perhaps very obvious, either the grandfather or the father, but not the little boy, never in the dreams. But here's the catch. Who is this little boy? I'm 100% sure that everyone in this room knows about him, has heard of him. In fact, read his work. Many of you must have read his work. But the way we are taught, we are not taught what this guy went through to arrive at what he arrived at. So who is this guy? In order to tell you, I've got like a little icing on the cake. I've got one of my prized possessions. This, even if you offer me $1 million, I'm not going to give it to you. This is one of the earliest copies of Origin of Species, Charles Darwin. This was written in 1859, but this copy is 1872. So you can touch it if you want. So this is my prized possession, and I keep it with me most of the time. And I got it at Oxford in one of the auctions. I was lucky at an Oxfam auction. So this little boy gave us Origin of Species, Theory of Evolution, and he's regarded as one of the most influencing figures in human history. In human history. He's regarded as one of the best brains of all time. But till the time he's going on this voyage, and if we take that slice of life and ask that question, what would you choose? The grandfather, father, or this little boy? We know the answer, but after we look at this and we ask any nation, ourselves, we perhaps will change our answer. So this is one of the stories from Fluid,